everyone, Dr. Siddiqui here. Today I'm joined by Dr. Christine George. Welcome.
Hi, Dr. Siddiqui. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. It's such a pleasure to have you join us on your day off.
Thank you for having me. I was looking forward to it.
So let's get started. Let's tell us an interesting story or something, whether it's funny or an interesting story that you'd like to share with us.
Okay, so that first story that I had, this was when I was doing my rotations, and I had a patient who was complaining of low back pain. I asked him to go through ranges of motion, and I was like, you know what, I'll do it with you. But we're gonna start, and then I go ahead and I'm like, all right, go ahead and touch your toes for me. And he looks at me, and instead of bending forward to touch his toes, which is what is the reaction, is what I expected. He went ahead, took his shoes off, lifted his foot to his chest, and he was like, see, I can touch my toes. I was like, that's true. That you did follow directions. That is true.
I can touch my toes just in a different
Look at that. Definitely not what I expected him to do. He was a very funny patient. Right. My favorite, I think.
That's wonderful. All right, so let's dive right in. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Who are you and what do you do?
So, my name is, very easy. That's the easy one. Christine. Graduated from Southern California University of Health Sciences, and I got my doctorate in chiropractic. It took me 4 years of undergrad and 4 years of grad school to get that. So I've been in school for about 8 years, and then I had a year where I had to take my boards and licensing exam. So altogether, it took me 9 years to get to this point. Incredible. So I am very passionate about what I do.
Wonderful.
Yes, it's been a wild ride.
So you and I went to undergrad together.
Yes.
Seems like forever ago, and yet.
Isn't it?
So tell us a little bit more about, going into the chiropractic field. What was it that attracted you to wanting to go into, chiropractic school rather than, a different field?
So for me, I've always liked to work with my hands, and I've always liked to have this really close connection with the person in front of me. So it was between physical therapy and chiropractic when I was applying for school, and when I was trying to decide what I wanted in undergrad. I ended up leaning towards chiropractic more because I experienced it, and I was like, you know what, this is such a good way to reduce pain. It's an amazing way to feel better. Mm-hmm. So it was that experience, it was me experiencing chiropractic that led me towards chiropractic.
Very good.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some challenges and struggles you have faced. You were born in Egypt. So coming to the U.S. and, English not being your first language or native tongue, what was it like? What were some of the challenges and struggles you faced going through undergrad and graduate school and now as a licensed practitioner?
Oh gosh, I've had some tough experiences. So I was the first one in my family to go in the U.S. at least to go to college. So it was a learning experience, not just for me, but for my family, to help my sisters prepare for college as well. I struggled with understanding the culture. I was lucky in that I learned English back in Egypt. However, it was such a different culture between a Middle Eastern culture and American culture. I really struggled connecting with people one-on-one. Mm-hmm. So that was very tough for me. Going into undergrad, I didn't know the process to get into grad school. I knew I wanted to do more. I didn't know how to get there. It was such a difficult struggle. I'd be like, well, how do you do this? How do you get to this? And there's so many different routes. It got so overwhelming and confusing that it actually took some time off to plan it and figure it out. It was definitely challenging. In finding a mentor. She was the chiropractor. She was the one that helped me, and she helped me go through the graduate process. So I feel very fortunate to have met her.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So it's becoming more and more common where students are taking a gap year. I took a year off while trying to study for the MCAT and applying to medical school because that whole process, the cycle, takes about a year.
Correct.
apply to different schools, interviews, and the majority of people, I feel like a lot of people that are, have a science background, it ends up, they take the 4 years, and then the fifth year is where they're finishing up that last couple of courses,
Yep.
whatever type of, entrance exam, whether it's the MCAT or DAT, or did you guys have a exam?
Took the GREs.
Okay. Yeah. So I think that's becoming something that, a lot of people are doing. And I think if that's something that you need to do, you go with the flow and you do that.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are putting themselves in this pressure to finish in 4 years, do this in 4 years. Yeah. And in the beginning, I was one of those people, but I noticed that my grades were hurting. Mm-hmm. When I spread things out, my grades improved. GRE score was great. I ended up getting that position where I shadowed that doctor that helped me to get into the field I am currently in. So it actually helped me organize everything to prepare for grad school, because grad school is a whole different game.
Yeah. not undergrad.
No, it made undergrad seem very easy.
No, because your entire learning, everything that you do changes. You go from undergrad to graduate school, where you have this information overload, where you have to change everything. You're literally starting from scratch, because you have to learn, hey, do I learn better this way or that way? Can I start alone or with a group of people? And I felt like, for me, it took me a year into medical school to figure out, this works for me. I'm like, or I stopped going to class, because I'm like, I'd rather sit and, listen to the lecture all the time, speed 1 or speed, I fast forwarded a little, so then I could go and find the resources, and just, that it took a little bit of experimenting, so it wasn't easy.
No, oh gosh. I remember I bought this massive whiteboard and all these different colored pens, because I was like, you know what? Maybe I need to study like that. And I stuck this massive whiteboard in the kitchen, took a whole shelf out, put it in the kitchen, had my textbook, and would draw everything out.
I did that too. It didn't last too long.
No, it didn't. I was like, okay, maybe I need to eat here.
All right. So let's talk about student loans. So I know, in going into dental school, medical school, we're in over 300, 400,000 in debt. What is it like going into chiropractic school? I mean,
it is about the same. Uh-huh. So you will end up with a massive amount of debt.
Okay.
You have to buy a table, and that adds up. Plus, the school itself is expensive. Tuition is expensive. Mm-hmm. I really, really recommend, now that I've graduated, I'm actually paying this debt off. One, do auto pay. Don't look at it that much. Just do auto pay. The benefits with auto pay is that, at least from what I've discovered, is if you have it set like that, it'll actually drop your interest just a bit. Oh. And in the long run, you'll save quite a bit more. So do that. Save. You have to be very conscientious with how you spend your money. You think you have all this money, but it's like, wait, not only do I have my student loans, I have my malpractice. That's one no one talks about.
Yeah.
You have to have your malpractice. You have to have all of these different things. You have to pay for your license, your continuing education. Mm-hmm. So I really, really recommend it out. Paper in, or if you have an accountant, bring that accountant in and plan it out, set it up. This is how much I make a month. This is how much my career needs in that month. Mm-hmm. And this is what I need to live. You really have to plan things out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's great advice. I think it's a very important, and it can be daunting when you're looking at all those numbers, like the amount of debt we owe. It can be very stressful. So, yes. But the one thing I think that has worked for me is that, you can't think of that as a deterring factor. That's something that, majority of people who go into graduate school will come out in, yes. in debt and have those hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yes, absolutely. You're absolutely right.
But it's something that is important that we need to think about.
You have to think about it and plan for it. If you plan for it, it feels not as overwhelming as if you just walk in and you're in shock. You're like, what happened?
At first, that's what happened to me. The one day I opened my email and I was like, holy no,
like, what's going on here?
$4,000 in debt. I'm like, I'm in $500,000 almost of student
It's
debt.
absurd.
Yeah.
But you just gotta plan it. Just set that auto pay. Keep going.
There you go. So are you in private practice or have you, yeah. So let's hear a little bit about
I'm actually very lucky. I'm very fortunate, and I am in a female practice. So focus on pediatric care and pregnancy. And we really work with moms who are having low back pain and they're pregnant. So we've dealt with disc herniations, we've dealt with sciatica, we've dealt with all of these conditions. And it's exhilarating, but at the same time, there's that fear because it's not like I can go have that patient get an x-ray or go get an MRI. You can't. Sometimes you feel like you're working a little that's the fear. But then when you're like, clinically, this is what you have. The signs and symptoms, my orthos, my neuros indicate this. I'm going to trust the years of experience from the ones I've learned from, and we're going to do this. And then you see in a few months improvement, and it just makes you go,
working with that group of people, that especially like with the group of pregnant women and pediatrics, can be challenging. So let's talk about, some common conditions that they come in with, and what are some treatments that you can offer to these patients that, they can also do at home as well.
Oh, absolutely. So the ones I tend to see are the ones coming in with low back pain, hip pain, pelvic pain. They're coming in because of musculoskeletal issues.
Mm-hmm.
So I will be very honest, I will not work as an OB, definitely not in my scope of practice, but you have a back problem, we will work on it together. Yeah. So they'll come in with a musculoskeletal issue. And what's really cool is that you can still do regular orthopedic and neurological exams. Yeah. You're a little blind because you don't have that x-ray or that MRI that would really confirm exactly what's going on. Mm-hmm. But the symptoms tend to be similar enough, and we've seen enough cases that we can generally go, okay, you have this is how we'll treat it. Mm-hmm. So it works that way. I've seen a lot of very regular low back pain cases, and what I've recommended is exercise. If you're stretching the QLs, if you're doing lunges to open up the hip flexors, if you're doing planks to work on your back, these are all ways to strengthen your muscles and to help prepare you for the pregnancy and while you're pregnant. These are all very safe exercises to do. A little bit of pelvic tilts, Kegels. These are great ways to really protect your spine and your back that you can do at home. And I always encourage patients to do that. I'll do it with them. I'll be like, all right, let's do this. Let's get down. Let's get into that plank. 30 seconds, hold it.
You get your exercise of the day as well.
Absolutely.
That's great. All right. So let's talk about, going through graduate school. What was it like, and how were you able to keep a work-life balance? And even to this day, that you're in practice, what are some of the things you do in order to help you de-stress or, to be able to continue doing what you're doing and not burn out?
So honestly, what I've realized is planning. And throughout grad school and now, you have a planner, you write things down. You're right, this is what I'm going to accomplish today. And you make sure that in that planner, you have at least 1 hour that you give yourself. Either go for a walk, do yoga, do something that you're passionate about, another passion that you have. We all have our little hobbies. Yeah. Do that, give yourself that time, and then get back to work. You'll find that 1 hour it'll do a lot. It'll give you a lot of energy without you even realizing it. Waking up early is a big one too. The later you wake up, the less time you have in the day. So it really is planning. Mm-hmm. It comes down to a really good planner.
There you go. Absolutely. So do you use like a digital planner, or what is something that you recommend?
I do. So I use the basic the Google Calendar. I like it. It's connected to my phone. It's connected to my laptop. It's connected to my iPad. Everything is connected on there. I'll plan it in the morning, and I'll get whatever gadget I'm using. I know I have my planner and it's set. So that really is a big one for me.
No, I think it's a really smart thing to do. It helps you kind of visualize and plan out your day. Okay, you know what? I have this much time that I'm going to give to myself, so that I can, just recuperate from everything that has happened throughout the day.
Absolutely.
And then you start again. You have a couple more hours of energy to, do whatever you got to do.
Yes, it's a big one.
So you mentioned something about podcasts. Is this a project that you're taking on?
It's a vlog. Yes, I am working on it. I'm we'll see how it goes. I just started.
Okay.
I'm currently building the whole thing. I'm excited to talk about postural related issues. Like,
Yeah.
hey, why are you holding your purse this way? Well, it's better to put it on both your shoulders. Don't put it on one shoulder. It'll tilt your shoulders. How to make sure you don't end up with that rounded shoulder. A lot of students have that. I still have that where my shoulders just hunch forward.
Yeah.
Well, what exercise can you do to keep that nice straight posture? How do you protect your spine? How do you stand well? These are things that I've noticed you see it in society all the time. I'm like, well, I can share that information
Mhm.
and we
Absolutely.
can help people that way.
I think that's incredible. Absolutely. We
Thank
need
you.
to be more aware, like especially with, having cell phones or sitting in front of computers all day long.
Absolutely. You really do strain your eyes. You find yourself like hunched forward, so bad for your posture and for your health. You don't find yourself breathing as well when you're hunched
Yeah.
forward.
Yeah, and all this tension that builds up, and we end up getting headaches. Like at the end of the day, I always get headaches
Like a
because.
cervicogenic headache.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Absolutely. So I think I would definitely find that helpful. It's like, little
I'll
to
absolutely
avoid.
make sure you get that article.
That's wonderful. All right, so let's talk about the students who are interested in going into your field. What is some tips and advice that you'd like to share?
First things first is find a mentor. Study. Really study.
Hmm.
Um, don't wait last minute for things. One of my regrets actually is that I waited so late to start volunteering.
Hmm.
I wish I had started volunteering earlier. I would have kind of figured out what I wanted to specialize in earlier, sooner. Expose yourself to patients, different settings, different clinical settings. There's pediatric care, there's sports therapy, there's so much out there.
Hmm.
See everything to really find out what you want to do. Don't wait until that final year to do that.
Hmm.
That's like the biggest one.
I think that's excellent advice.
Yeah.
So going back to the field of chiropractic medicine, is there
Mhm.
anything that you find challenging, or it's something that you'd like to see changed in the near future in chiropractic?
Definitely. So chiropractic has a bit of a mixed reputation. So some people are like, what is chiropractic? It's nonsense. Some people are like, oh, the best thing ever. I'm obviously love chiropractic. It is to me the best thing ever.
Yeah.
However, what I wish is that things would be clearer. The scope of practice would be clearer. In some states, some chiros can do so much. In another state, you can't do much. So I believe it was in Washington, you can prescribe medication. In another state, you can't at all. And it's like, I really wish it would be more uniform and more organized.
Sure.
You can really like see the practice grow, see the field grow, because there's so many benefits for it.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
you went to chiropractic school in the West Coast, but you
Correct.
practice in the East Coast. Let's
Yes.
talk about that.
It was definitely challenging. So I've all of my schooling was in California, high school, undergrad, grad school, and I was very much integrated in the community in California. Moving here, it was harder. You have to integrate yourself into the community. You have to show people that, yes, I am the doctor for you, that you can trust me with your care. And that's taking some time to really build that trust.
Mm-hmm.
It's not easy. So that took a while for me.
Sure. That makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah. And I think, being a recent graduate and trying to create that patient base and trying to, I think just to establish yourself in that community can be
Yes,
challenging. But
it definitely the age that I'm in doesn't help. A lot of people are like, "What have you even?" And so, like, yeah, absolutely, I have. Just the looks can be deceiving.
that's why for me, I always have to try to look older. So if I wear my hair up, if I, do my makeup a little differently, I feel like people view me differently. If I had my
Differently.
hair down, I look way too young. And to me, I feel like I can't get the trust and
That
sometimes even the
the patient
respect of
wants.
patients.
Yes.
So
Very
I think that's
difficult.
one
Yeah.
challenge, that if you look young, you gotta really
This
play it up.
field, you really gotta, yeah, you really gotta switch it up.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely. Okay. Is there anything else, that any other topics that you'd like to talk to us and viewers about that we didn't touch upon?
I wanna, it's not necessarily talk about, I just wanna share this. Sometimes you'll find yourself stressing out and feeling overwhelmed, feeling depressed, feeling sad. I don't know if you've experienced that when you were studying or when you were at school, because that was definitely some of my experiences.
Sure.
Tears. There were tears involved after some exams.
Of course. Right there with you. Yeah.
J- don't don't give up. It's a really difficult road from the get-go. If you decide that you're going to go into healthcare, it really starts from high school.
Yeah.
That's what I've realized now. That it starts from high school. You have to have the grades that you want in high school to get to the undergrad of your choice. You have to make sure you pick the right major, you pick the right classes, you have the right A at school you want.
Yeah.
It's a long process.
Mhm.
Try to stay hopeful. Look forward to things. Don't feel crushed.
There will
I
be plenty of times
yeah.
when you do. I think just going into the medical field, it you will feel like everything is against you. I mean, whether it's
Yes.
taking those entrance exams or just doing the whole application process, it can be so daunting.
Overwhelming.
Yeah.
So overwhelming. You
Yeah.
need like references. You need to make sure you have to make sure you're doing like inpatient care hours, outpatient care hours. You have to have all these things done to even start. And that itself, yes, it was horrible. I still think about it. I'm like, oh my gosh.
How did I make it through? But I think you have to take that with a grain of salt. That's not to say that it is impossible. There are people that
Definitely not.
have done this and have come a long way. So it is challenging, but it's also rewarding. The
It's
fact that
worth it.
you're able to pursue your dreams and do something that you're so passionate about, that given that if you were back in Egypt, or if I were back in Afghanistan, I highly doubt we would be able to pursue our dreams as
Yes, to get
well.
to get to this,
Yeah.
it feels exhilarating.
Yes.
It is to
Absolutely.
get to this,
Yeah.
and it makes it so much more sweet to experience all these challenges to get to this point. It's huge.
Absolutely. It makes you appreciate. And I
What you
think
have
if we
and what
didn't
you've done.
have those challenges, I don't think we would be working as hard or just feel as I mean, we are definitely privileged. We're given so many opportunities. We are in the land of opportunity.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
even if you do have those struggles and those little hurdles or things that you think you were not going to be able to get over, you
And you
will. All you
will.
have to do is just keep on
Keep
pushing.
pushing. Keep
Yeah.
pushing. You have to have a little bit of obsession that this is what I want. This is
Yeah.
my goal. I will get there. You have to keep
Absolutely.
fighting for it.
Yeah. That's
That,
incredible. Yes, I agree. I think that's amazing advice. So, any last minute thoughts? Anything else that you want to share with us, whether be it regarding chiropractic medicine or anything else in the medical field that you think our viewers would benefit from?
be aware of how your body works. Be very conscious of how your body's functioning to really stay healthy. I've realized from what I've seen now in clinical setting, patients are not taking. I think we should be more appreciative of preventative care.
Mhm.
We really should.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well,
Take
thank
care
you
of your
so
body.
much, Dr. Christine. George,
Thank you for having me
a
so much.
pleasure having
Thank
you
you.
here with us today, taking your day off to spend with us and share your experiences and your
I
knowledge.
appreciate your time so much. Thank you for having me. It was a wonderful experience.
Thank you.